Okay, welcome grade 10s. This is your IT lesson. It is the 19th of May today and we are working on Delphi. Today we're going to work from page 45 in your Delphi textbook. We're going to look at the checkpoint. Okay, so this is the checkpoint to see if you've understood the previous activities. And what you need to go and do is you're going to go and design a new project for me. It is going to be saved C3 P45 CS marks but you can see that in your textbook. Okay, what you need to place is 4 labels: label name, label practical, label project, label theory, and edit for edit name, 3 spin edits, set practical, set project, set theory, and 1 button and 2 bit buttons. This one's going to be button calculate. In your textbook you'll see it says button add, but it does the same. And then we have a panel where we will be, let me just see if you can actually see where I'm at. I think you are not on the same page as I'm. Sorry about that. Let me go back into my Zoom. Okay, sorry, I'm going to share the screen. Let's go back in. There we go. There's our form. And let us pin this one. Okay. So you will see there is your form, your labels, an edit, 3 spin edits. What this activity is going to do, it's going to work out your term marks. So your practical test, your theory test, and a project mark. And what it will do is it's going to add the 3 together, divide them, and then display your term average. Okay, so let us take a look. I'm going to go into my Delphi project. Let's find my Delphi project. Okay, so here is my design. And I have got that. So there's a couple things I'm going to take a look at. I'm going to ensure that all my components are labeled correctly. And then I'm going to start off. Let's go into our code. So the first thing I want to do is, let me just find my PowerPoint. Here are our instructions. A user must enter the name of the student. The practical mark needs to be out of 40. The theory mark also out of 40, and your PAT mark is going to be out of 20. When he or she clicks on the process button, or calculate in this instance, the name of the that has been entered and the average of the marks needs to be displayed in the panel. Okay, step 1, we are going to code the add or the calculate button, depending on what you have called it. Okay, so let's go take a look. I'm going to double click on my calculate button. And the first step, it says there for me, I know there must be a variable. So I'm now going to work with iFinal. Tells me there's iFinal. Okay. And iFinal is going to be of type, if it's an I, it tells you that it is of type integer, okay, which says I'm going to be able to do a calculation with it. Just to remember that strings can be letters, numbers, and symbols, where integers are numbers that are used for calculations. Okay, let me just pause. Okay, so I've entered my variable, and now what it says, assign a value to iFinal. So to create iFinal, I'm going to say iFinal, and I'm going to assign. Now, what we're going to do, you can either choose to create variables for each spin edit, like project, iProject, iPad, iTheory, what is my last one? iPractical. Or what we are just going to do here is we are going to write them out. So said practical, and a spin edit, the property is value plus said theory dot value plus said pat, which is here, I think it's practical in this one, practical dot value. Okay, so I'm going to add those three together and write them to I final to get my average. The next part here that you are required to do is display. So how am I going to display it? I'm going to display it in my panel output. Now, what are the methods that I use? I'm going to use a caption. Okay. And now what must my caption be? I want the whatever was written in EDT name to be displayed with the average from there in a string. So panel output dot caption assign. So EDT name dot text plus, now I'm going to open my string. Make sure you've got your spaces so that your name and your sentence is not attached to each other. Another space plus, and now I'm going to choose iFinal. But can I display an integer? No, I can't. So what I have to do is I need to convert it. So I place it into brackets. Let me just pin this one again. Okay, so here is my iFinal. And remember, take what you want, what you've got to what you want. So I've got an integer and I want a string plus, then the last part of my string is percentage for IT. Okay, so there we have that. Now let's see what's the next part of our control here. Okay, step 2 says reset all fields on button reset. So basically what I want to do is once the user has entered the name and the amounts, then I want it to reset so that I can add the next pupil's marks. Okay, so let's take a look at how to do that. So I'm going to go to design. I'm going to double click on reset. It's going to open my button reset. And it says here, clear all the fields and reset all the values. So the first one is EDT name dot clear. So that is my procedure. Then, very importantly, I want to place my set focus back where the cursor should be. So EDT name dot set focus. What this does is it is going to place the cursor back into the position so that the user knows where to enter their information. Next, I need to go and clear my spin edit. So let's take a look at my spin edits. I've got a set practical, set theory, and set project. So I need to go and clear these. So set practical dot value. So this one I can't just say dot clear. I have to go and reassign and set it to 0. Then set theory dot value, assign again to 0. Oh, check the spelling. And the last one, set practical dot value assign 0. So now I'm making sure that all my spin edits go back to 0. Okay, and there's one last thing that I need to clear, and that is going to be my panel. Okay, so my panel's P&L output dot caption. And remember the difference between a space and an empty string? If I place two single quotes next to each other, it is an empty string. If I put a single quote, space, single quote, then actually it's not an empty string. It is a string with a blank space. So you're going to place two empty strings and a semicolon. So let me quickly show you here. Say I forgot my semicolon over there. How will I know that I have forgotten a semicolon? On the very next line, if the very first word has a red squiggle, then you know that there is a problem, that you have most probably forgotten a semicolon, or you placed one where you shouldn't have. So there are a few instances where we are not going to place a semicolon. Okay, the last bit that I want to do is when my form activates, I want my cursor to be in the EDT name. So how do I get to that part of the code? I'm going to click once on my form. I will go to my object inspector, and normally it's going to be on properties. And you're going to click on the events section, and you will see there is a section called form. So on activate, I will double click on it, and it's going to open the form activate. And what you need to type in there is EDT name dot set focus. So what that does is, as the form is created, it is going to place the cursor in the correct position already. Okay, so let's take a look at how this works. So if I run my program, let's hold thumbs that everything is going to work correctly. Okay, here we have our form. There is my labels, name, and the EDT, and edit box where the user is going to enter. There is the three areas which I'd like the user to enter. So they're going to enter their marks for practical, theory, and project. And then they're going to click on the button calculate, and I want it to display there. So let's say Peter. And Peter is really good with Delphi, and he got, let's say, 35 out of 40 for his practical test. But Peter does not like theory. He just wants to code all day. So Peter didn't study for his theory test, and let's say he got 10. Okay. But then he realizes he needs to make up his marks so that he can still try get as close as possible to his A. And Peter worked very, very hard in his project. You can use your spin edit. If you want a high mark, you can just highlight and press 20. He worked really hard and got full marks. And we calculate. And there we go. Peter, you have 80% for IT. Okay. So see how nice this little code is. This is a very good code for you to practice with. You can do all sorts. And you've done the very first bit of maths where we start adding amounts together. Now let's see if we reset. The next one, George comes along. Okay. And George struggles a bit with IT. And he got, let's say he got 3 out of 40. He didn't study. But then he pulled up his socks for his theory, and let's say he got 25, and he got, okay, there we see there, my spin edit has not reset for the project, so I will have to go and fix that code. And he got 15 out of 20, and we calculated, and oh dear, George has just passed with a 31%. So it's really important that you do practice your IT. Okay, you cannot just get through by theory alone. Okay, great. So that is basically, let's go and check there. Set practical, let's go and see, why is my practical not, I just want to check my set project, and I wrote there. Now that is where my error is. I wrote set practical instead of set project. And let's go make sure over here also it must state set project dot value. Let's run it again and see if we get the same values. Okay, so we've got John got 37 out of 40. John has been working really hard and he got 38, and he got 16 out of 20. And let's calculate. And John, you have received 91% for IT. Okay, so guys, that is the checkpoint. I'm only going to do a small section today because I'd like you to go and practice that for me. You can do a variety. You can, instead of spin edits, over here you can have edit boxes. It's up to you, so you can choose, but I want you to start practicing with the different components so that when you get to the point of designing your Delphi project, that you are well acquainted with the different project or different components. So go and work out write yourself a little program that you can work out your average for each subject. So what you could have here is maybe multiple displays. You've done the rich edit and the panel, so you can display each time. You can say maybe name and then the subject, choose from there and let them calculate and submit. Okay, thank you so much. Today is a short one. We will carry on Thursday. We will be working with real data, and I'm going to teach you the math uses, how to calculate different averages then. Okay. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to end my recording so that the students can ask me some questions, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye-bye.